Good morning and welcome to Mindset Mondays with DTK. This is episode 66 in an ongoing series of weekly live broadcasts designed for folks with a growth mindset or those who would like to create or hone one. The playground is to play with new ideas, new concepts, and try on new mindsets. So, wow. This is another one I get to have fun with because I don't know if I'd consider it a counterintuitive idea yet, because I realize that I take it as such a given from experience and from training and from reading, and so I realize that it is kind of counterintuitive. Well, I'll tell you what, you decide, right? The quote I want to play with today is from Thomas J. Watson Sr. He was one of the four original founders and the first CEO of IBM. Said, would you like me to give you a formula for success? It's quite simple, really. Double your rate of failure. So it seems clear why on the surface it's counterintuitive. Here's what I enjoy so much about this. It speaks to one of my pet peeves, right? When Beth and I had digital positions in play when we first started, we would hear in the late 90s and early 2000s people speak endlessly about how important innovation was and how innovation was part of their DNA and how our company is built on innovation. And I realized that the majority of that was lip service. And there was one easy way to test whether innovation was really part of the fabric of that organization, was asking them how they rewarded failure. Oh my God, we would get that deer in headlights look. Right? What do you mean reward failure? Well, innovation requires not only frequent failure, but embracing failure and unpacking failure and looking at it objectively and dispassionately, sometimes even looking at it lovingly and looking for the learning in the failure, the idea of fail fast, fail cheap, and fail forward, to really dig in and understand what worked, what didn't, how and why, and where the opportunities lie, even if it was a disaster, and moving all the way through embracing it and learning from it and leaning into it and moving all the way to rewarding failure. When people who fail get punished, when they're at risk of losing their job, when they are afraid of failure, it's impossible to be innovative. You can't innovate when you are afraid of failure. Innovation, by definition, is trying and exploring new things and making new connections to come up with new ideas and new opportunities and new ways of thinking and being and doing. And the only way to do that is to reward failure, to swing for the fences, to look for the unusual, to go for the Medici effect, to bring together a wildly diverse team and allow their different thinking styles to blend into new ideas. But that's going to spawn failure. Not unusual to have 10, 20 failures before a win when trying to create a new idea or a new product, or components of it fail, or concepts in the model fail, and it requires more experimentation, lots of it. It's like failure is a barometer of success. I heard the line before that failure is a barometer of innovation and failure is a barometer of experimentation, and stretch it all the way through. Failure then is a barometer for success. The more you fail, the more you increase the odds of success. And that goes right back to Thomas Watson. It's quite simple, really. Double your rate of failure. So then why are we so afraid of it? I think the piece that, as I ask that question, why are we so afraid of failure, what comes up for me is something that I used to do. It's a totally human thing, and we map a failure onto us. So if this X failed, this business failed, this initiative failed, this launch failed, this idea failed, then I am a failure. And I think that is the point we get wrapped around the axle. That we equate a failure with being a failure, right? Failing at something does not make me a failure. It means that that thing failed, that which I attempted failed. I think that's the mistake. The model of coaching that I work with, coactive coaching, that model, one of the first cornerstones is that people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. It comes from Adler, one of the Freud's students, created the concept or taught the concept that people are creative, resourceful, and whole. Within the coactive coaching model, we talk about the addition of the word naturally. We are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. And whole's the key, right? That we may have behaviors that are broken, but we're not broken. And this is just, for me, a very logical extension of we may fail at something, but we are not, as a result, a failure. That we have failed at something does not make us a failure. And that's an important distinction. It's an important separation. We are not what happened to us. We are what we choose to be. I don't remember what episode, but that's one of the quotes that we played with. So the full quote that from Watson is, would you like me to give you a formula for success? It's quite simple, really. Double your rate of failure. You're thinking of failure as the enemy of success, but it's not at all. You can be discouraged by failure, or you can learn from it. So go ahead, make mistakes, make all you can, because remember, that's where you'll find success, on the far side of failure. And that's such a beautiful piece. It's knowing that each failure brings you closer and closer to success. You can be discouraged by failure, or you can learn from it. So instead of sitting down after you've failed at something, after an initiative has failed, and flogging yourself for that failure, stop. Unpack it. Unpack it dispassionately, objectively, as if it was somebody else's experience, looking at where's the learning in this failure. Go ahead, he says. Make mistakes. Make all you can. Because remember, that's where you find success, on the other side of failure. I took this attachment, this conflated meaning of, if something that I do fails, then I'm a failure. I took that to an extreme. The whole idea of my last company with Beth Digital Positions was, I felt like if it was anything less than a success, if it failed at all, then I was a failure. That even conflated my identity with it. Oh my God, if I stop being part of Digital Positions, whether we shut it down, whether it failed, whether it died, or whether we sold it, if I stopped being part of Digital Positions, what would I be? Right? We didn't sell it for a bunch of money. And isn't that a failure? And that meant, oh God, then I'm a failure. So all of this came down to conflating outcomes with my identity. That's so paralyzing. When we fear failure, we create the conditions around us to fail. It's an odd metaphor. The visual that comes for me is when I'm out on a bicycle out on the road and somebody in front of me yells, hole, pothole. They're calling out a hole in the road. I used to stare at it to make sure that I didn't ride into that hole. The problem is I put my attention on it and I rode right into the damn hole every time. When I looked at it, when I focused my attention on it, I hit it. The trick, and it seemed so obvious when somebody said it to me, was to look to the side of it. Don't look at the hole. See it and then look next to it, because wherever you put your attention is where your tire is going to go. Focusing on success. Focusing on the open space, the clear road next to the hole, instead of focusing on the failure on the hole, created the conditions for success. So when we focus on failure, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail, don't fail. Boom, we hit the hole. Fail. That's all we see. That's the outcome we create. This is about focusing on what success looks like. That allows us to unpack every single outcome that's less than a success and unpack it and learn from it and grow. This was a huge opportunity for me. Learning that outcomes were not my identity, nor did outcomes impact my identity. On the flip side, even when something succeeded beyond my wildest dreams, that success didn't mean that I am a success. That just means I succeeded at that, or that initiative, or that product, or that company, or that launch succeeded. It doesn't mean I'm a success. Measurement of success as a human comes from how I engage with the world and how I grow and who I am as a person and through my work and with my family. Our outcomes do not define our identity. Alicia, thank you. Alicia says, yes, I think you need to repeat the same video every week. We need a reminder. Cute. So thank you. All of these videos end up on mindsetmondays.tv. It's a piece of my website, as well as on facebook.com/groups/mindsetmondays. And yes, Alicia, I appreciate that, because this is a reminder that I need over and over again, that our outcomes do not affect our identity, good or bad. Only who we are in the world, who we be at our core, how we interact with and serve the world. That defines our success as a human. So when it comes to success in our activities, when it comes to success in our endeavors, yes, you want to succeed at those? Double your rate of failure. Play with new ideas, play with new concepts. And if something lands, go with it. If something face plants, learn from it. So I'm excited by this one. So I hope that through this idea that our identities are not shaped by our outcomes allows you to find some grace and opportunity for learning in failure. Own it, enjoy it, learn from it. Focus on the success brings out your resourcefulness. Yes, Alicia. Being laser focused on failure reduces our ability to leverage our surroundings in a new way. And yeah. So put your attention on that which you want to expand. Where we put our attention and our intention, those parts of our lives expand. Focus on failure, failure expands. Focus on success, success expands, and you find the grace and the openness and the space in every outcome. There's learning in all of it. So between this week and next, please come to facebook.com/groups/Mindset Mondays and share your thoughts on these topics. And join me each week, every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. GMT, for another conversation about mindset. So between now and next week, what mindset will you choose?